Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. It is the weekend update of Crime Talk. All of the top stories located in one convenient video. I hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk. Justice for Harmony Montgomery? Perhaps. Adam Montgomery, the father of the missing and presumed now deceased New Hampshire girl Harmony Montgomery, was arrested and charged with her murder late Monday. Now, nearly 8 months of investigation by various state, county, and federal law enforcement agencies, Harmony Montgomery was declared deceased based upon numerous leads, including biological evidence. The father was charged with murder in the second degree for allegedly recklessly causing the death of his daughter by repeatedly striking Harmony in the head with a closed fist. Now, Adam Montgomery was charged with one count of falsifying physical evidence by allegedly destroying evidence when he hid or destroyed his daughter's body to prevent the investigation from moving forward. Abuse of a corpse for allegedly purposefully and unlawfully moving the concealed corpse of Harmony Montgomery or any part thereof, and tampering with a witness for allegedly attempting to have his wife, Kayla Montgomery, testify falsely. Now, Harmony Montgomery actually went missing sometime in late November or early December of 2019, and the lack of knowledge as to her whereabouts made their way onto law enforcement's radar after an alarm was raised by her mother's biological mother, Crystal Sorey, who repeatedly lost and regained custody of her daughter due to substance abuse problems throughout the girl's short life. Now, Kayla Montgomery faces welfare fraud charges after allegedly falsely representing that her household was the same size as before Harmony Montgomery went missing. Tragic case. Glad it's moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, everybody that we talk about on the show who has not been convicted by a jury or pled guilty, we give them the presumption of innocence. Regardless of how bad the facts look for them, we give everybody the presumption of innocence. From the beginning of this show, the threat of imminent incarceration tends to break the bonds of loyalty, and that's exactly what may have taken place in the case of Harmony Montgomery. So, some filings have revealed that Harmony Montgomery's stepmom, Kayla, had told police back in June that the girl's father, Adam, had murdered the then 5-year-old and encouraged her to help cover up the crime. Shocking, isn't it? Well, as you may recall, Harmony vanished sometime in late November of early December 2019 and is believed to have been killed around the same time. Cops were only made aware of her disappearance last fall, and an investigation led by the FBI subsequently ensued and led police to arrest Adam Montgomery back in January of 22 in connection with a second-degree assault charge involving his daughter prior to her disappearance. Well, on Monday, he's been charged with the murder of his daughter nearly 3 years after her disappearance. He is said to have allegedly punched the disabled youngster in the head. Now, Harmony was blind in one eye. Also on Monday, the prosecution filed a document in another case against the alleged child killer, charging the felon with dealing in stolen firearms, which brought about the damning statements. And apparently, during her June 3rd interview, Kayla reported to police that Harmony had been murdered back in December of 2019 by the defendant. Kayla also said that the defendant had encouraged her on multiple occasions to lie to the police about Harmony's whereabouts, basically giving Kayla a cover story and telling her that as long as she stuck to the cover story, everything was going to be okay. Adam Montgomery's defense attorneys asked the judge earlier this week to preclude the estranged wife's statements, now accusing the prosecution of improperly delaying their disclosure by months in violation of the discovery rules that are applicable in just about every criminal case. And Kayla Montgomery herself is also facing charges in connection with the girl's disappearance, including allegedly lying to a grand jury and collecting welfare payments on the missing girl's behalf for months after her death. This disclosure was several months in the making and serves as the first indication from investigators that Harmony, as many suspected, was in fact murdered. It also comes 4 months after members of the FBI stormed Adam Montgomery's home, hauling out evidence, including a refrigerator from the apartment. Now, the police did not disclose what sparked the search of the residence about that time. However, officials conceded that the home had become the focus of their investigation. Now, Harmony, who was blind in one eye, was in her father's care at the time of her disappearance after her mother, Crystal Sorey, lost custody of her back in July of 2018 due to her own substance abuse issues. Investigators revealed earlier this year that Harmony had been homeless and living out of a car with her family in the days before her disappearance after being evicted from the Union Street apartment on November 27th, a date that falls within the span of the girl's disappearance. Now, Adam, meanwhile, who had also come under suspicion of caseworkers for abusing Harmony in the months before the disappearance, but of course they didn't necessarily take over. So what do I mean by the threat of imminent incarceration tends to break the bonds of loyalty? Well, clearly the allegation here is that Adam Montgomery is responsible for the death of Harmony Montgomery, and that's right, stepmom. She gets arrested for all this. She's looking to spend a ton of time in jail, prison. And guess what? She's like, I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I have to do this? He manipulated me. So they go in and they do a proffer. And they say, I promise to tell the truth. You can't use this against me. And okay, then we'll make you an offer to testify against Adam Harmony. And everybody's happy. The threat of imminent incarceration tends to break the bonds of loyalty. Seriously, very rarely, if you have two or more defendants, somebody always breaks. And the rule of thumb is, first to the district attorney's office usually gets the best deal. So remember that. If you're out there committing crime with conspiracies, get in early, get in often, get the best deal. Just saying. Remember that Oxford school shooter? That's right. Well, he pled guilty this morning, including to a rare terrorism count. The kid's name, Ethan Crumley, was 15 when he went to the Oxford, Michigan High School, and he's been charged as an adult with 1 count of terrorism causing death, 4 counts of first-degree murder, 7 counts of assault with intent to murder, and 12 counts of possession of a firearm. Now, news of his plan to plead guilty emerged last Friday, nearly 10 months after his lawyer said in court filings that they were going to pursue, guess what? That's right, an insanity defense. Didn't exactly turn out that way. Anyway, Crumley's guilty plea to even 1 count of first-degree murder could lead him to spending the rest of his life in prison. Now, the November 30th shooting prompted extraordinary charges, a state-level domestic terrorism count against Mr. Crumley, and involuntary manslaughter charges against his parents who bought him the gun that he used in the attack. Now, the Crumley's case is notable for the fact that most defendants in school shooting cases never make it to trial. And state terrorism charges represents a relatively novel approach to prosecuting a mass shooting. Now, last year, the Oakland County prosecutor, Karen McDonald, explained that her decision to bring the terrorism charges against Crumley was a way to address the victims and their families who may have survived the shooting, but whose lives will be permanently altered. Now, Crumley's plea means he could be compelled to testify at his parents' trial if he's subpoenaed, and he wouldn't have the ability then to invoke his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination because he's pled guilty. Now, as you may recall, James and Jennifer Crumley last year were charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, another relatively rare move in which prosecutors sought to spread liability for this mass shooting to the parents. Investigators said that the Crumleys purchased the firearm for their son as a gift and allegedly did not intervene when he showed signs of distress. After the shooting, prosecutors revealed that the Oxford High School teacher had raised concern about Ethan Crumley to his parents up to the day of the shooting when they summoned the family to school for the meeting. On the day of the shooting, a teacher found a drawing of a semi-automatic weapon with a written note, quote, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." James and Jennifer Crumley met with the school administrators that morning, but refused to take their son home, allowing him to return to class. Hours later, when the news of the shooting broke out, Jennifer Crumley texted her son, "Ethan, don't do it." The couple, who have pled not guilty, tried in July to have their case thrown out, arguing that they never should have been charged because their son is the sole person responsible for the killings. Well, that trial was set to begin Monday, but was postponed over apparent challenges from the defense to the expert testimony that may be allowed at the trial. So no new date has yet been set. Georgia investigators are determining whether Dabbie Collier may have taken her own life or maybe even died by an accident. Well, law enforcement services reportedly told a news outlet that no evidence has been found to link those closest to Dabbie Collier to her death. Collier was found deceased last month, around an hour and a half away from her Athens, Georgia home, and she was near a secluded ravine, clutching to a small tree branch and charred on her abdomen area. Evidence at the scene suggests her death could have been accidental or a suicide, although investigators previously stated there was no indication that Collier took her own life. In a statement, quote, "At this time, there is no evidence to suggest or support that this incident was related to a kidnapping," according to the Habersham County Police. Like I said, as a statement that they released. Several items Collier purchased at the Family Dollar store shortly before her death were found at the scene, including a tarp, a lighter, and the tarp and the bag. So far, Collier's autopsy and toxicology results have not been released to the public. Suicide? I'm not sure. Why would she drive up there? Why try to pull herself up? She looked like she was getting ready to go to a football game, dressed up to have fun, not necessarily to harm herself. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. As you may recall, it's kind of some backup to this story. Collier's daughter, Amanda Bearden, contacted police on September 10th after she reportedly received a Venmo payment from Collier for $2,385. A cryptic message was attached to the Venmo payment that read, quote, "They're not going to let me go. Love you. There's a key in the house in the blue flower pot by the door," end quote. Now, Bearden, who reportedly waited several hours before contacting the police, said that Collier left everything at home aside from her ID card and debit card, which contradicts what's seen on the security footage at the Family Dollar store, the last known sighting of Miss Collier. Now, Collier's husband, a guy named Stephen, said during a 911 call that Bearden told him she found her mother's purse at home. Said, quote, "Came home. My wife wasn't home. Her driver's license still there. The rental car is gone, and her daughter's here." Stephen Collier, the first person to make the report, said on September 10th at 6 p.m., "We're kind of worried about what's happening and where she's at. Could you send somebody over here?" Police said at around 3:15 p.m. on September 10th, the Venmo payment was sent to Bearden, and security footage shows Collier walking into the Clayton, Georgia Family Dollar store on September 10th at around 2:55 p.m. She was seen carrying the large black purse and vehicle keys while wearing the University of Georgia football jersey. And on September 11th, police tracked a rental vehicle Collier was using to a wooded area some 60 miles away from their home. Now, police searched the vehicle's vicinity and found her body and a burned blue tarp in a nearby ravine. She was naked, charred, and deceased, according to the police. So far, no arrests have been made, and no one has been named a suspect in the killing. Check back for updates. Let me know what you think may have happened to Dabbie Collier. Accident? Did she do something to harm herself, or was it, something nefarious? Let me know what you think.